All right, you tell me. I'm gonna flip to college football real quick, and I got a couple on the college football. But you tell me, Dukes. You know,
All
we've
right.
always had these blue bloods. We've always had these dominant programs. We've always had these guys that you could just count on in August that they were going to be there in December and January. And I'm talking about the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
So you got your Auburn helmet behind you. I got the
Yeah.
LSU jersey over there. I get it.
Yeah.
Is the SEC dead, or did the rest of the world just catch up?
Everybody caught up. You remember? All right. So this is why I trained my little boy so hard. He caught one of them growth spurts early, right? And so now he's in fifth grade, and I could have put him out there with a bunch of other fifth graders, and he was gonna look bigger. He was gonna be stronger. Like my son cut up right now, but I know that he caught his growth spurt early. It's not even a question in my mind. So I'm not gonna train him right to be around kids that he would dominate. I want him playing with 6th, 7th, 8th graders, right?
Mm,
Because people are going to catch up eventually. And if you only are good when you're better physically, then how good of a football team are you? That's what happened to the SEC. Nobody had caught up yet. They got their growth spurt early. And as everybody starts to catch up, you start to realize, well, in your mind, the SEC was better, so you went into that game, you went into that playoff game thinking, oh, we got to play Georgia, man, we got to do this. You're already defeated. We saw Georgia get out physical on a national level. I'm very close with a lot of people at Georgia. That's just the truth. So when people caught up, it's not that the SEC doesn't play good football. It's that now that they're spreading it around. And so now the guys who used to only want to go to the SEC know that I've been to a lot of times guys who've been in the SEC, take a guy like Jaheim Otis. Now, if Alabama plays him the way he should have been playing this year, in the way that even if the way that Nick Saban played him, he helps that team win, period. They're a better team, but for whatever schematic issue they had, where Jaheim Otis' skill set was not able to be utilized, that was only a positive for a team like Colorado to bring him out there.
mm,
So in previous years, look at all the SEC talent on Colorado's team right now. Otis, Colton Hood came from Auburn. You go down the list, Keaton Wade. You could go down the list and find guys who were formerly in the SEC who have been able to find better situations and are okay with it because they know that their talent travels, not the conference. And I think that's the difference. People have realized that talent travels. And
mm.
but you let me know, what do you think, huh?
Yeah, I love that. And the log I put on the fire is simply this: somewhere along the path, Coach Nick Saban had a crystal ball and saw all this coming, and said, "Let me pack it up," because there was once upon a time that you could talk a kid into, and whether it was your sales pitch, the environment, or NIL off the books at the time, you could talk a
Mm-hmm.
guy into sitting on your team 1 or 2 years, even 3 years, and not touching the field. You know,
Mm-hmm.
LSU would have a running back get drafted every year after only playing 1 year, and there's three people behind them that's just as good. Same thing, the defensive backs at LSU. Same thing with defensive line at Alabama. You know, they would
Mm-hmm.
be four deep at a position with one guy being the starter and one guy getting some reps and the other two just waiting their turn. And that turn may come anywhere from 1 to 3 seasons later, and they would just sit there and wait because they would rather be on the bench in Alabama or the bench at Georgia with hope to come than to be starting at Memphis, to be starting at Tulsa, to be starting at a Colorado pre-prime. Well, then you
Mm-hmm.
bring in the transfer portal and you bring in NIL. Well, what the hell I'm sitting here for? When I could be doing something right now, when I could be getting developed
Mm-hmm.
right now, when I could be more, just a tackling dummy right now, when I could be traveling to games and playing in games right now. And so when you add in that aspect on top of what you're saying about the talent level, we have historic blue bloods that we just refer to because they're historic greatness. But from here on out, all of these conferences are going to have parity. Like, you're not going to have somebody just running away with it year after year after year, because they're going to look across from them and there's going to be people equal or greater in number, in depth, and in talent. And so by the time you get to that 12 in the CFP or some of these bigger bowl games, there's going to be talent across the board. There's not going to be, oh man, that's just the Big 10. Oh, that's just the Big 12. We the SEC. Everybody has come up.
Mm-hmm. Ain't nobody scared, man. I'll tell you one thing. At Friday too. So at the end of the day, SEC still gonna be the SEC, and they still gonna play good football. They still gonna recruit well, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in Friday too, there was a lot less fear of Debo than there was in Friday 1. After Craig did what he had to do, wasn't nobody as scared of Debo as they were in Friday 1. So now that you're starting to see, Debo done lost a little bit of that luster. And going forward, now every year, there's going to be a team. You're not, and people wanted it so many times. Oh, we want the SEC. I'm from the middle of SEC country, and so are you. And you knew for a fact that they got the best of our guys.
Yeah,
no matter
absolutely.
where you're from, the SEC got in this area, which is arguably from the Southeast, from Mississippi back down to Florida, all up into the Carolinas. That's arguably the best football that you can find in a concentrated area outside of Texas and California. That's it.
Period.
We knew where they were going. 9 times out of 10, the best of the best is going to an SEC school, and that's no longer. Coach Prime had a lot to do with that. Travis Hunter, Travis Hunter was committed to Florida State, which for a long time people considered to be honorary SEC.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's dead. Man, people know that you can go anywhere and get off, especially when you look across that roster and you see a guy who had less of an opportunity but still had the pedigree. You got to forget, and don't forget, guys, what's this new line? The linebacker, I love this kid too, from Memphis.
You just made me forget his name, but straight out of Memphis. Go, yeah, I'm with you.
Straight out of Memphis. Well, that kid was an SEC kid.
Yeah.
And people forget that. Is it Welch? Not French. Artavius French, ball player, and he can run. And now you have all of this SEC caliber talent all over. So now it's not quote unquote SEC caliber talent. It's, can you ball?